Yud. Okay. It says in Mechaber. HaMechabetz Devela Shin Mem Sif Yud. HaMechabetz Devela V'Otzer Menu Igel. Someone who gathers Devela. Join us figs, 9 dates. V'Otzer Menu Igel. Or he should not have to Einim. Or he made a hole in figs. V'Hichnis HaChevel Behem. Achan Eskaptzu. He gathered them together. Guf Echad in one guf. Harezeh told us Ma'amer. So told the Ma'amer v'chayev v'chen kol ketzeh b'zeh. So it means over here is we had before that gathering fruits and vegetables or pieces of wood, we said was Ma'amer gathering, which is an Isser, one of the Lamatas Malachis. So here, when someone does it to fruits that are meant to be put together and he strings them, he used to put a string through figs and make it into a type of cake. So it was called a cake. It was like a teinim cake. So they gathered together to guf echad, then to told of ma'amer v'chayiv. It's a chiv of ma'amer. So says the Magen Avram, in Seif Kol Zayin HaMekabetz, v'davka shekibtza mimokem shenaflu min ha'ilon. Only if you gather them in the place where they fell from the tree. Avol, but and keep some bebayis. If you gather them in the house, loy, kadarmina mebeya the ma'amid arima lehavig ma'amalocha. So something that fell apart in the house, and you're gathering them together, even though it's a fruit that's meant to be gathered together, in the house there's no chiyuv. So if you look at the Mishnah Berurah over here, the Seif Kol Lamed Ches, Hareza told us Ma'amer, Shadarkan Shal Oysan HaPeres, L'Chavram Ba'ofen Zeh. It's the way of those fruits to gather them in such a way. V'ayim ben Nishmas Adam Shemetzadei, Da'av K'She'oysan Kein Bebayis Chayiv Mishum Ma'amer. Even if you do it in the house, also as Chayiv at Ma'amer, the Ba'ofen K'Zeh, also Ylasez Gam Bebayis K'Besodeh, so here the Chachmas Adam comes with the Chiddush. It's not like the Magen Avram. The Magen Avram says if you do it in the house, there's no din ma'amer gathering fruit in the house. There's never ma'amer, only in the place in the field where it falls off the trees. There is din ma'amer. But the Chachmas Adam says if the way you usually gather this gathering is usually done not in the field but in the house, then also it's chayiv mishul ma'amer. Also, there's an issa ma'amer on it. It's called gathering because that's the way you gather it, and that's the place that you usually gather it. So therefore, he says it would be a chayiv of ma'amer. The mice is the place where machmer like a chachmas adam, and therefore would come out. Anything that you usually do it that way in the house could be a chayiv of ma'amer. That's what a person they bring down. There's someone to make a fruit platter. Whole fruits, cut up fruits maybe not. Whole fruits, it could be a chiv of ma'amer. I don't know, it's interesting. It's not so simple that everyone agrees to that. But I've also seen brought down, which the Iron Master is not knowing that way at all, is that if someone has a bunch of fruit in a bowl and it falls out, a bunch of little oranges, let's say, all over the floor, and now you want to gather them together. So I've seen brought down that it's also at ma'amer. I'm not sure why, because even according to Chachmas Adam, it's only ma'amer that you usually do in the house. This is not usually done in the house. The ma'amer of the oranges is in the field. You gather them under the tree, put them into something, and you strip them off. In the house, it's not darker to do that ma'amer. It happens to be if it falls on the floor, you can gather it together. But it's not the derech. The case of the Vela and the Ta'anim, here, the way that you did it was, they always did that in the house. They didn't do it in the field. So therefore, there the Chachmas Adam said, since it's darker to do it by bias, therefore chayiv mishum ma'amer. But something that's not darker to do a bias, it happens sometimes that the fruit falls on the floor, there is no isser of ma'amer.
And what about taking them from the fridge and putting them on a flag and these little oranges?
Right, but they're together already.
They're in the fridge.
Right, they're together.
There,
right, but
you put them on a platter.
Right, but they're together. You're taking them together and you're putting them onto a platter. The only time it's ma'amer is if it falls out and it's spread all over the place. And then you put it together again. Everyone agrees if it's in the fridge, you're allowed to transfer it to a bowl.
No, but so you want to serve a fruit platter. So you have tangerines, grapes, cantaloupe, and everything.
And you put it together.
And to serve it on the Shabbos.
Right, so that some person says it's ma'amer. It's not going to do it in the house. You take different types of fruits and you put it together. The rest of the element is not noted that way, and don't worry about it. It's okay. Don't have to worry about such a ma'amer of putting fruits into a bowl. What I did see brought down a lot is stringing pearls. Someone's necklace falls a pearl necklace. Used to be more common, that's common anymore I think, but it used to be very common to have pearl necklaces. And pearls are gedulei karka. They're considered gedulei karka. So if you string it, it may be done into this halacha.
The real pearls.
Real pearls, yeah.
Plastic pearls.
The fake stuff is black gedulei karka. But so it's good I get the fake ones. No problem.
But there you might have a problem with second.
Yeah, so there you may have a different issue.
The rest of the week you wear it. You wear the real one.
Yeah, whole week you wear the real one. The Shabbos you wear the fake ones. Yeah. So, but there could be another issue of misakin money, putting them back together again. Fine.
No, you bring all the time. Each one picks up one and takes home and brings it on after Shabbos, and then you can do.
They put it back together. Yeah. Okay.
Let's stand in the line and pick it up one by one.
Okay, Sif Cotton with Zion. So we should knock out the Einim. But Tzarech the Lamalai is Chayev Bezeh Mishum Boine. He says, why isn't there a Chayev, says the Magen Avraham, als Boine, you're building, you're putting them together, the Einim, it should be Chayev Boine. Whereas Kosovo says, Simishin Yotes, Gabi HaMegavein, to make the cheese. The Tzarech Le Mikri Boine, Elikim Kishemischavel Niaftoise Ulahashvoise. Boine is only when you have a mind to make it look nice and to smoothen it out. But just to put them together on a string where you don't have a mind to make it look nice, there is no chiyuv of boine. Won't be a problem of boine by Taimim. But people are going to die from Magen Avraham that is mashma that if you're doing it le'afoisai or le'hashvoisai, if you're doing it to make it look nice, there is a chiyuv of boine.
Even by Eichel?
Even by Eichel. So come out from the Magen Avraham that there's a chiyuv boine by Eichel. If you make something look nice on Shabbos, there's a chiyuv boine, even though it's only food. So if someone wants to make a nice platter and make it look nice, that can be chiyuv boine.
So that's Kiddush.
That's Kiddush. Yeah, there are a lot of places that making food in a fancy way on Shabbos is a nissa boine.
Even though by definition it's never going to be a permanent.
Right, yeah, you eat it. It's serving it to eat.
Right.
It says something in binyan b'achila, no?
Yeah. There's a big machlokes about it.
But that principle of ein binyan b'achila is a machlokes itself?
Yeah, because from this Magen Avraham, the Medai said there is a din binyan b'achila. So
we said, but by the platters that we talked about, when they smoothing, we talked that there was we didn't bring up the issue of binyan, but we brought up achik, you know.
Right, but there's also
liver, eggs, all these things where you smooth them.
Right, so it depends how you're doing it. You know,
if it wasn't smoothing, you would have had already a problem with the binyan, and there we answered that there was no binyan. There was no binyan, but there was a problem of a achik.
Yeah. But not everybody holds a boine of Eichel. We say there's no boine of Eichel. But there's also a lot of them that die from this Magen Avraham that it is shaykh to have boine of Eichel. Now it depends what you're doing. You know, making it, taking a chopped liver or eggs and it's making it, the scooper to put on the plate. Now that's called binyan. Because the scooper is just a way of getting it out. You're doing it in a nice way. Now that's called real binyan b'oichel. But if you're going to make a form out of it, a shape, maybe that's binyan b'oichel. It's from the Magen Avraham. You see there's such a chum. Right? So a lot of people are making on it. There's no binyan b'oichel. It's not shaykh and boina. You're serving it to look nice. But there are machmirim on binyan b'oichel. Okay, Seif Yud Aleph. Hanoi saying Zera Pishtin, a Shumshumin, Even though you put shumshumim, which is seeds or nuts, into honey, you shouldn't squeeze them with your hand. Push them together with your hand. So look at the Mishnah explains why. So it doesn't call it shchita, it calls it boiler. So if you have something with honey inside, and you squeeze the nuts together, so the honey should ooze out, because you don't want the honey, says the Mishnah, that's called boiler. So that's the problem of boiler. If you squeeze it out, it's because you don't want the honey inside, so you're squeezing it out. It's a problem of boiler pseilus mitaych eichel. You're squeezing out the pseilus from the eichel, and it's a problem on child.
So why doesn't he call it takiskita?
Because I don't know shchita with when you have it. You don't say shchita, it has to be absorbed into it. It's lying between them. It's not called shchita.
Like you do it by hand and just before you eat and stuff, whatever you want to.
Not that it's squeezing out themselves, squeezing out the honey. If you pick out the nuts, and you could do, but to squeeze out the honey, taking out themselves with the eichel, it's a problem. But shchita, it's not. The shchita is only when there's two things together. The one's absorbed in the next and squeezing it out. Here it's not absorbed in the next, it happens to be lying in between. It won't be this shchita.
What if you squeeze it because someone wants the honey and you want the nuts?
That's the shadow. If the person wants honey, for him it's eichel, it's mutter. Okay, Seif Yud Beis. Hanoisen zera pishtan shumshumin l'chiyetzu v'mayim. You put flax seeds or shumshumin or sesame seeds. L'chiyetzu v'hem v'mayim. Chayim v'shum losh. V'shem es arvim v'nitlim zeh v'zeh. Because they get mixed together and they stick to each other. So here what happens is when you put those seeds into water, they become a little sticky, and through that they stick together, and it's a chiyuv of lush. Okay, there's also a big sugya on lush. They're being arrived from here. Is that what's the din of lush? We spoke about when we learned lush. But lush b'pashas means the real lush is to take flour and water, you mix it together. Now that's lush. You make a dough. What happens when you take flour and water, you mix it together? The flour dissolves and the water, and they become one thing. What's happening over here is you're putting in zerapishtan, the shumshim, and water. What's happening here? The zerapishtan, the shumshim, and the seeds don't become part of the water. They become moist.
Kind of absorb a little bit of
they
water.
Absorb of the water, and then they stick together. So what's the water? What's happening basically? They become glue. Something becomes like a glue, and they stick together. So they stick together. That's called lush. Lush pashas means you're taking two things, you're mixing them together into one. How about, this is the famous shadow, how about they have tuna fish and mayonnaise? Tuna fish and mayonnaise, is that lush?
No.
What happens is the mayonnaise and the tuna aren't really, the tuna is not absorbing the mayonnaise.
No, they're just
mixing it well and it sticks together. You see from over here, that's also called lush. Even though they don't become one, they don't change. Still it's a din of lush. It would have been a big heta for tuna fish and mayonnaise. So a lot of places hold the term of lush. If you mix it together, it's called lush. And some people want to say it's not called lush because what you're doing is you're basically gluing the tuna fish together with the mayonnaise. Tuna fish is not changing. But you see from over here, even though the thing itself is not changing, it's still an issue of lush. Okay, Seif Yud Gimel. Ein shoivrim hacheres. You're not allowed to break a cheres. But ein koren haniyo, you're not allowed to rip a piece of paper. Because it's like being misaken a kli. If we learn that from Shulchan Aruch over here, there's no Magen Avraham, there's no Taz. You move on. You open up the Mishnah Berurah over here. He has a Riches Gomer, and let's see exactly what's bothering the Mishnah Berurah. So what's the case over here? So the case is, look at the Mishnah Berurah Sif Cotton Mem. Ein shoivin acheres. and you're not allowed to break the cheres, ve'ein karin haniyar. So what's the case here? It says the Mishnah Berurah here, Sif Katan Mem, kedei laniach aleihem u'chahay gavna. So the way it used to be was that they would take stuff and they put it on the coals. They didn't want it to get dirty, so take a earthenware thing, break a piece off, put it on top of the coals. I think it was fish they used to use. I put the fish on top of the earthenware broken off piece now. Or they take a piece of paper, rip a piece of paper off, and put it down, and now on that we would put the fish. So why can't you break off the cheres? Why can't you rip off the piece of paper? It says the mechaber b'pnei shehu k'misaken kli. You're fixing it. You're making it clean now. Till now you didn't have something to put the fish on. Now you just made something that you can put the fish on. It says the mechaber. That's called k'misaken kli. You are making a kli now. The kli is a holder for the fish. That's the kli that you made. That's what the mechaber says. So there's one big question over here, which we'll see soon to be halacha, is when you're ripping a piece of paper, why is there an issur by itself, ripping the piece of paper? You're allowed to rip a piece of paper on Shabbos? You're allowed to tear something on Shabbos? That's going to be a big shiloh here, which we'll get to soon. Is there any issur? I have a piece of paper, and I want to rip it up. Is there any issur to take a piece of paper and rip it? Is there issur koreya?
Define it. What's koreya and what's mekalkel? Koreya usually is almanas, something.
No, so let's say it's a mekalkel, mekalkel and asurim. Mekalkel is also, even if it's a mekalkel.
The fact that you want to use it for something means it's
that's taking money. That's taking money. But let's say
just taking a piece of paper.
Take a piece of paper and throwing it in the garbage. You have a piece of paper, right? It has something on it. It was worse than it's a problem. You have a piece of paper, you're going to rip it off and put it into the garbage. Is there an issur to do that? Is there an issur? Not a chiv not, because I'm a mekalkel. It's not more than a mekalkel. Is there any issur b'chlal to do it? Take a piece of paper, rip it in half, is there an issur? So if you can say there's no issur b'chlal to rip a piece of paper, then, okay, or it's a koreya. We see that there is an issur koreya. And that's the big hobby halacha, we'll get to it soon. But if there is a koreya, then how are you ever allowed to open up bags on Shabbos? You're koreya, you're ripping it open. Now you're right, we spoke about Mesak and Mona, we spoke about Pesach, you're making an opening, if it's Pesach Yafo or not, a Mustaki, Binyan B'Kedim, any Binyan B'Kedim, that we spoke about. Fine, very good, we took care of it, there's no problem, Binyan B'Kedim, it's a Mustaki, you let it open it up, very good. But what happened to koreya? You're not allowed to rip on Shabbos. So we'll have to get to that soon. We have to see the Biur Halachos here. So let's leave that aside, let's see the Mishnah Berurah first. So here it's talking about when you're ripping a piece of paper to put the fish onto it. It says in the Mishnah Berurah over here, Umayri, Sif Katan Namalef, Umayri is talking about B'sha'ein makbid alamidim. When you're not makbid on the size. That's the first thing you have to know. If you're makbid on the exact size, how big it should be, it's also an issur of mechatech. Mechatech we had at the end of Shulchan Gimel. The mechatech is cutting something to size. That's its own issur. Cutting it to the right size is an issur by itself without koreya, an issur of mechatech. The koreya niyar, the kuroi v'dei lekaneach, that's atzmai behem, or the shar ezet tashmish, chayiv meshum koreya, shekoreya amanas l'saken. Okay, the kamon b'sif yidalid, v'machaber shlo hisker atamish of koreya ayin be'alocha. So says the Mishnah Berurah over here, you take a piece of paper and you rip it because you need it for something, which is basically the case of our halacha here. You chayiv al koreya. You rip something in half, you need it, the thing they ripped off, you want, that's an issur koreya. Chayiv mishum koreya, shul koreya manas l'sachim. There's a ticket here, you're ripping it because you want a piece of paper. We'll see soon why the Mechaber didn't mention koreya over here.
But the example that you already gave of putting it in the garbage seems to show that you're not interested in either of the pieces.
Right. Here's koreya because you're doing it for you want it. If you're doing something because you want it, you need the piece, then it's chayiv, he says. We're ripping open a bag or ripping open a food suffer food. So there, you don't want the thing you're ripping. You just have to get to the food. So we'll see why there Kareya is mutter. But here, it's somewhere a case when you're ripping because you need the piece that you're ripping off. And they give an example, a chocolate bar, right? So someone goes ahead and breaks it in half, but he wants both foils, or both pieces of paper, to protect the food. But there, you're already ripping it, it's Kareya because you want it. You want to rip it in half. You want both halves to be in the wrapping, so that could be an Issa Kareya. If you're ripping it open just to get to the chocolate, then it's mutter. If you're ripping it open because you want both sides to be covered, that's worse. That's much worse.
And you're ripping only one end, and you break off a piece, and then you basically fold
Yeah, because they're the ripping, you don't need the part that you ripped off.
Mm-hmm.
Then go to the garbage before you can. The rest of it's protected. So here it talks about when you're ripping it because you need it. The famous Shabbos here is someone's stuck in the bathroom and there's no Shabbos tissues, so could you rip off a toilet paper to use it on Shabbos? So according to this halacha, it should be awesome to rip off a piece of toilet paper because you need that part. That part you want in the chayr. It's a chiyuv, he says over there. First of all, make us do k'la'achayad, the shinui, the cover of breeze. It's only with a shinui. It's with a shinui k'la'achayad, it has to be a good shinui. And then the maker of cover of breeze, but it doesn't mean that there's no Issa Kareya. That's the typical Issa of Kareya of the Mishnah Berurah over there. You're ripping something because you need the piece that you're ripping off. That's a Kareya, that's a Masakin, and it's also, it's not a Machatech. Machatech means you need the exact size. Now, I told people you don't need the exact size. It can be any size you want. So that'll be awesome.
That's what we said. Better to cut not on the perforation because
it's
the alamida.
Yeah.
Randomly, then.
Yeah, if I randomly, then it could be better. Yeah. But the kind of tablecloths on a roll, these things could be little deraisa. A machatech. You're cutting it, there's even to the sides, it could be a machatech also. You need the exact size. Tablecloths on the roll is a big problem to cut on Shabbos.
So how far does this go? I mean, in a shul with custodians, I mean, where they prepare for Shabbos Shudas, this for sure happens.
Right, so the person is allowed to do it. It's allowed with tablecloths for you. It's very doing a halacha-theory for you. It's very doing a halacha-theory. So it's a guy's job, he comes to do before Shabbos, he doesn't want to do before Shabbos, that's his issue. He has to take care of it. He could do it before Shabbos. If it's easy to do it on Shabbos, okay, it's his problem. So the guy's job is not that he's doing it for you. He's doing it for himself. That's his job to make sure the tables are set. He can read the tablecloth before Shabbos. He doesn't need to do it for you on Shabbos. And for me, it's nothing.
The problem usually in the shul is, he has to put a tablecloth, let's say, for Kiddush Shabbos morning, and then he has to prepare Shabbos.
He can rip them before Shabbos.
Oh, I see.
Rip them off the roll before Shabbos. You don't need it done on Shabbos.
That's the heifer.
Yeah, if you were doing it yourself, you rip them off before Shabbos. There's a way of doing it before Shabbos. He's too lazy to do it before Shabbos, that's his issue.
You have to tell him to do it before Shabbos? But you don't say anything at all, so he does not, he would know.
He knows what the routine is on Shabbos. He knows he has to.
He knows that he has to have a tablecloth on before Shabbos Shudas, but you didn't tell him in advance.
Right.
Do they go to the custodians here and say to them, everybody, I want you to know, and then it becomes, he chooses,
It could be on its own even. It could be done before Shabbos, it could be done before time. But that's one din of Kareya. And then it says, the Kareya Igeres Hamachutam, to open up a letter that was sealed. Even if you're careful not to open up the letters of the Chasima, Rafi Kareya Haniyar, Shesaviva, you're going to rip the paper around it. Gamken also the Kuliyama, Phil Lemon and Yehudi Fazar and Letter Godel. So to rip open a letter on Shabbos, he says, is a big problem because you're ripping it up, and there it's a tikkun. What's a tikkun? You want to read the letter. Now, good to call the shemoneh and Yehudi any yachal the kroiser calls marsha and pesuach from Yavan and Yehudi ba'atzmai v'tichenu less than both than you can do it. And we'll see soon that there be a halacha that depends what type of letter. Right there, the letter was talking about a letter that, like they used to have the emails letters, right? That the letter itself is envelope. There's seal it up. So there it could be it's worse. But if you have a letter in an envelope that we have, so when you're opening it up, you're just ripping up an envelope. So see soon in the halacha that he comes out maybe that even that is awesome. And we spoke about this once. Maybe we should see that one first. The halacha, the Ramascha Haniyar. We'll get back to the other one about Korea soon. So look at the halacha, the Ramascha Haniyar. I have a Mishnah Berurah Mashal Ksavnu, read through it quickly, but it's a very important halacha. I have a Mishnah Berurah Mashal Ksavnu, the Inyan Psichas Egeres Revar Ksav. The Bechadus Beredei Kovit Ches Chosav, the Yisrael HaPescha, Yesh B'zeh Chiyav Chatas L'Chuli Alma. The Bechadus said that Yisrael that opens up this letter, it's a Chiyav Chatas, ripping it open. The Kriyas Haniyar Hu Melkalkel Amanas L'Sakein. Why? Because the ticket is that you needn't open it to get to the inside. To who you do this, that's a tikkun. Opening it up to get to the inside is a tikkun. Because ripping it open is a tikkun. Or Tzuvas Necham Tzvi Siman Test Polagazeh Behitla De Akom V'Lebietama. Nira says the Mishnah Berurah, the Husayvir, the Malachat Shein Tzricha L'Gufa. It's a Malachat Shein Tzricha L'Gufa. Why? The Ein Mesaken Meguf Haniyar Vidi. He's not Mesaken in the paper, and if the paper is there, it's fine. It's opening up the envelope to get to the paper. Hataysif da Sagdal Kosel Lachi Korea Mechamasa in the memory Evis Ain't Basic Fatal Abshirim Shum Less Tikkun L'Gufa Davar Hanikra. If someone rips something because he's angry or he wants to put fear on the people in his house, it's called the Malachat Tzricha L'Gufa because the paper itself didn't become better when you ripped it. You set fear on the house with it. So Malachat Tzricha L'Gufa. For Fizel or Rambam, Shapoitzit the Malachat Tzricha L'Gufa Chayiv. Yes, we say it's a deraisa, but also the akum. Uberishmas Adam Klachov Test of Isish Akasad L'Kuli Ama Potter, even according to the Rambam. Even according to the Rambam. The Tachin Kavanasa the Shani Ahid the Kareya Meisai Ubechamasa the Kriya Gufa He Hatikun. The ripping itself is what you want. You want the ripping. That's the chiluk. When you're ripping something to put Emisal in Shabesa, the ripping is what you want. So even though the paper is not becoming the shukin, but the ripping itself is what you want. The Bakriya, B'shachech, Chamosai, he calms down, he sets down his anger, and Mirmi Emisal in Shabesa. Masha'eke B'zeh, over here, Dal Niyar, Hu Mekalkel, Gomer. The paper itself is ripping is a Mekalkel, but taking the Mitzad Acha. So says the Mishnah Berurah over here. Here's a very important Mishnah Berurah over here. I don't understand the svar of the Chachmas Adam. Now, one thing you have to know, the case of the Chachmas Adam and the Pri Chadash was what we spoke about, like the airmail letters. Says the Mishnah Berurah over here. The ikar tikkun hageres ve'omer the kroisa v'tikunehu sheyichol the kroisa ve'imkein k'shekayrai k'dei the kroisa when you're ripping it to read it have a malachat tzricha l'gufa. That's called a regular malachat tzricha l'gufa. You're ripping open the paper in order to read what's inside the paper. That's called a malachat tzricha l'gufa. You're fixing the paper itself. Till now you couldn't use the paper. Now you could. Often it says, how about if the letter is in an envelope? To know, like the minig is, it's a mekalkel and it's pater. Afilu le-ri. Rabbi Yehuda. Chavir Shabbos ein gimel on the base of a taga pater full of Yehuda Sfirlei, Melach Adikul Gufa Chayiv. So the mekalkel is pater. So now the Mishnah Berurah basically made a chiluk. So the Pri Chadash says chayav chatas. Chachmas Olam says it's mutter. It's a mekalkel. It's a mekalkel. Therefore you do it on Yidei Goy. Says the Mishnah Berurah, it depends. If it's the airmail letters, it's not a mekalkel because it's fixing the paper itself. Now you can read the paper. So sometimes you get letters in the mail, not an envelope, so you pull off the sides, and then you can open it up. That says the Mishnah Berurah, that's not a chiv, that's chayv, that's a masakin. But it's in an envelope, so you're ripping the envelope to get to the letter inside. That says the Mishnah Berurah, that's a mechalkel. That is matter. Bonnie says...
What's that? But it's still going to be us.
Oh, so that is potter, it's avol awesome. So that's what it says now.
So at the end of the day, it doesn't change.
Right, but it does change. We'll see why. It's going
to be yeah.
From the female Evenu El, the Siddhis Rashi, Hechet, who says, Amanas Livnois, Shaloibim Kaimoy, the Wakalka, the Mokum Zeh, Masaka Mokum Acha Chayv Luri, Imkain Hachanami, Bizeh. Says the Mishnah Berurah, he brings the Machlokes, the Rashi holds, that if you're Makalko, right, if you rip something, Kareya, Amanas Litfor, everyone agrees is awesome. Kareya, Amanas Litfor, B'mokum Acher, or Seif, Amanas Litfor, B'mokum Acher. You throw down a house, you're not going to build it here, you want to build someplace else. So it's not the same place. So there Rashi holds it's called a mesakin. So here also, even though the paper itself that you're ripping is a mekalkel, says the Mishnah Berurah has a din of a mesakin. Because even though the paper is a mekalkel, but it's a mekalkel of a nas mesakin, because through that, something else becomes better. Says the Mishnah Berurah, according to that, here also b'chayiv. Imke hachanami b'zeh b'chol gavni u'malacha de'raisa l'ri to b'chol kareya menas l'sacha floi de'akum yesh l'zor v'chein mag Avram v'sim zayin sh'kot n'chaf v'tadol l'isler v'das sefer al-skreinis v'makam nira d'l'tzorich godol yesh l'hakol l'fois choyai de'akum ובפרט מרגש מנצח את הקניור אחר לכתחיל את טייב יסר לעשות שמתרקסתם ושברו בשם העבודה. Tell the guy the remiza. So after this whole B'nai halacha comes out, that to open up the email that is, he holds, you can make like they joy.
So email like this?
Yeah. You can make like they joy because the chachmas is makel.
Email like this will envelope.
Without an envelope. And the letters with an envelope, he says that for sure you can be making like the akum, not even a tzarech gadol, you can be making like the akum to open it up.
With a tzarech gadol.
No, the envelopes.
How can you do it without a tzarech gadol?
The envelopes are out.
Yeah, but then how? You still have a shemoneh-esrei. You need something. You need a mokum tzarech. You need mitzvah. When do we ever have that? You have shemoneh-esrei. Amir la'akum is mutter without a tzarech.
No, it's Mechago's potter. He doesn't say tzarech. He says tzarech gadol by the other envelopes.
Because in the Mishnah Berurah he passed in tzarech gadol. That's how he passed in the Mishnah.
No, because there Kobe is talking about the letters, like the email letters.
Right, but
he's talking about the email letters, but the regular letters in an envelope.
But it still should. Either way, it's still going to be.
He's saying it's trade in the water. It's trust.
Right, and we know.
Maybe Malacha Shein Tzricha L'Gufo is more chal. It's called Malacha Shein Tzricha L'Gufo. So it's a more lenient than the regular shus.
So normally we say shus
yeah,
has to have some.
Correct. Malacha Shein Tzricha L'Gufo maybe is more chal. Maybe.
We were talking this morning. We said your son's coming. He has his SAT scores coming, and he wants to know.
Right.
Is that a tzarech gadol? Said, no, I can't be.
No, the mice, it's not that open. That's very important. It's not that get a guy to even open up a letter on Shabbos. You leave it. Leave it after Shabbos. In Canada, it's not really a gay because there's no mail.
You don't get it.
You don't get mail on Shabbos. Yom Tov will be in the gay.
Right.
So you get Yom Tov. Yeah, it's not good. It's good to leave it, not to open it up. Tzarech gadol, you find the head to open it up. But the problem here is that after the whole B'nai halacha comes out, if you have a letter in an envelope, and you want to rip open the envelope to get to the letter, it's a problem. It's called kareya. It's called kareya. It's called tikkun. If I only do it through a guy. So what's that to open up any bag on Shabbos? Forget about making a kli. Binyan v'kelim or not, what happened to the Issa Kareya? Here, the whole time we're talking about here, the one Issa of Kareya. We're not talking about any other isurim of binyan, pekalim, just ripping. Says the Mishnah Berurah, even if they have a letter inside, it could be it's a mekalkal, but it's part of also. So what happens? Why by food do we say for that rip something open without a problem? Everyone agrees to that rip it open. So this is a big kasha on Achronim, and the Maisa, a lot of Achronim answer. I'm not saying it's it's a sort of derech to teretz, but this is the only good way out that I found so far to answer this kasha. It's a big kasha. It's a serious kasha. The Maisa we find when it comes time to opening bags and ripping, even though you're ripping it and you're destroying it, it's not going to stay in the bag. Whatever time you have, what happened to this? It's kareya. So some person want to say that for food, kareya is mutter. You're not rip for food. But where does that come from? But so other person say that the reason why here it's much worse is because when you're ripping something to eat the food, we don't call that ripping a doing for something else. It's a masaka. Because the food is there temporarily, you can eat it up and it's gone. It's not called you're being massacred something else. If you're taking by a letter, you rip it open, and you're keeping the letter, something you're going to keep, and it's going to stay for a while. So that's called, when you rip something, you just fix something else, you have the letter. Because the letter's going to stay with you for a long time. If you're taking by food, we're just going to eat the food, that's not called a tikkun by ripping open the bag. That's how they give. Teretz they give. Okay?
Shlomo Zalman speaks about opening the plastic milk bags.
Right.
Shabbos.
What does it say? What's that?
It says, he says, so he says, so number one, you're going to throw it away. But he says, that the bag is bottled to the contents.
And therefore it's choiceless. Right.
That was religious.
Right, that's the most right. That was the head of...
And he had said, that's a mustiki.
The mustik doesn't help you. The mustik makes it a bit difficult. Yeah, the Pesach doesn't help with Korea.
Right. But he says, but he says there was a tier of tamim no sofen. So yeah. I don't know what those are.
Right. So that's going to help you. If you hold it's a choislois, so it's not called ripping anything. So that will help you maybe for food.
Right.
But when it comes time to paper goods, and you're ripping open the bags of the paper goods, that's not going to help you. Those are choislois are paper goods.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this person struggle with this. What's the head of a karei over here? I'm talking memory. I'm talking about Shem Zalman has the head of choislois by food things.
Right.
That's why some people are makel to rip open for food, but they're not makel to rip open for paper goods. Even though there's no problem of binyan mekalim because it's not a kli, but
the choislos would work for that too. The cover. Anything that's what's choislos? Choislos is
the food. It's like the food. Somebody's allowed to cut the food. You're allowed to cut the wrapping. You're allowed to rip the napkins. They have a bag around napkins, right? You're allowed to rip the napkins. So this becomes a napkin. If you're a napkin, you're allowed to rip. Second, choislos, which is a part of the food, the same you have to cut the food, you have to cut the choislos. Okay, so it's just good to remember this bir halacha, that ripping, kareya, is not so simple that it is mutter just to rip something they want. And you have to come out to a terim, you rip your stuff for food. You want to take a piece of paper, rip it in half, and throw it in the garbage, you can't do that. Even though it's a mekalkal, you can't just take a piece of paper, rip it in half.
And what about, so we spoke about once about the letters, right? Because we're never going to put them back together. You have a Splenda or Sweet and Low, one of those things.
Right.
You have to be careful to avoid the cutting of the letters.
Right.
So I think we spoke just a few weeks ago, and we said nobody puts them back together.
It's funny by the cookies, right? The cookie, it's time to call from molasses. So it's more of conversations as well.
So do we have to be careful? Like so?
You should be careful, yes. You should be careful. It's such a heter, but it's not so possible to rely just on that. We saw that they use that for syrup by the cookies. They use it as a syrup to be makel. Because cookies itself is not so partially by oichel, it's shaykh to have chaysiv and moichik. So he's a tziruf that such a thing that you're cutting open and you're never putting it back together again is not called.
So if you can't get, I mean, some packages are done in such a way where you almost can't get to the.
Yes, it's better not to. It's better not to cut open. Most parts are going to say it's better not to.
This is a svara, though, that you're never going to put them back together.
Yeah, but I don't think they use a svara by itself. They use that svara for its tziruf by the cookies. I don't remember the person who used that svara by itself. Okay, that's one thing. Now, let's see the first halacha. Ein Shevrin. Also a long halacha. I don't know if we'll get through the whole thing. It's also very important. Another heta for kareya. Something that we said, the ripping open a piece of paper, an envelope, on Shabbos is an issur kareya. Question is it a masakin, is it a mekalkal? But ripping itself, that's an issur. In this halacha, we'll find that this coolest, that it's not called kareya b'chlal. It's not called ripping b'chlal. Let's see what he says. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Ein Shevrin. Siv zeh v'asamach lehim l'shon Rambam, v'dvara v'siv zeh u'neveim ha'sh'om ha'veirach ha'veir d'atan l'mashvil ha'imona, because they're making it into a kli. V'lechel l'fi ma'asham muchach v'sif ha'samuch, the kareya amanas l'saken chayiv mishom kareya. If you rip something in order to fix it, you chayiv al kareya. Amay l'nemar b'zeh mishom kareya. Why in this sif you're ripping off a piece of paper and it's a tikkun? You're using it to put a fish on it. So why isn't that called kareya? This whole issue over here of the second moneh is only issue the rabbanon. So kol ha'sham if oid kama dvarim she'edur shehem midrabanon. From hayi bay mishum kareya, hayi bay surah deraisa. Ve'emes v'hikshna zev v'regadim v'nisha v'kosher. The Baz with Tzarchim. So there's a kasha over here. What happened to kareya in this sif? Why is it missing kareya? It says the Mishnah Berurah, "U'masha rotza echad min ha'achronim." Echad min ha'achronim is the Shulchan Aruch Harav. Shulchan Aruch Harav says this far. It doesn't say his name here. I don't know why. "Masha rotza echad min ha'achronim l'hoitzim izeh l'shayich kriya ki'im v'dover ha'nitfar v'nerag shenistapeg shenistapeg migufin rabim u'che'en shehoyi b'yiriyos avaloi b'dover shemiguf echad k'mei or v'niyar zayna." Shulchan Aruch Harav says the only time we have an issur of kareya, of ripping, is only if two things were separate. They were put together, and now you separate them, you're ripping them again. So if you have something that's guf echad, says for example a beged, an or, or is leather. Leather is never pieces that put together. A beged is about the threads put together. But or, leather, is one piece the whole time. Ripping something that was never two pieces put together, says the Shulchan Aruch Harav, that's not called kareya.
So you would be fine with the tablecloth then?
So that's the question. The question is, here's a piece of paper also. A piece of paper is one piece. It was never a bunch of pieces put together. The question is, today, everything is made out of a bunch of things put together. This thing wasn't created as one piece. Right? I say because the way they make everything today, they take a bunch of things, they put it together, and they make something out of it.
Well, paper is the same thing.
Today, paper is the same thing. So I said, today, paper may be different than the Shulchan Aruch Harav's paper. Because now, it's a bunch of things put together.
Paper's always been like that.
No, paper you take from the tree, and there's something very, very thin.
No.
Yeah, they process
They make it thin, and they put water, and it becomes big, and then they cut it again until it becomes big.
It wasn't processed. Paper was never processed. It's a whole thing, the paper is processed.
I thought paper was all made out of fibers.
Paper 100 years was made out of fibers?
No. Thousands of years ago.
How do they do it? They have machines. How do they put it together?
You can do it. You can just take from it, and put it in water and then dry out and smooth it out.
It seems like I don't know what it is. It seems like the paper was made 100 years ago, whatever, with times of the Shulchan Aruch, which a couple hundred years ago, it was one piece. It was not a piece for the. It'll be a big afkamina. Because a lot of places want to say that today's stuff, since it's put together, so therefore it has a din like it has an issur kareya. Has issur kareya. Why? Because niyar and or were never that way. If you can tell me niyar Some places hold no. Some places hold that today, this is for the other. This is not beged. This is threads.
Yeah.
But suddenly it became one chaticha, and it's impossible to separate it again. A beged. If you want, you can take it apart. You take the threads apart. So then it's kareya. Plus, it's impossible to take it apart. So something that's made in a way that it's impossible to take it apart, some person can want to hold the head of the Shulchan Aruch that's not called kareya. So if you're saying the paper years ago was made that way, even if it's Shulchan Aruch, so it's referred to the Shulchan Aruch, that something that's put together in a way that's impossible to take it apart is not, it's a kareya. I don't know what the mistake is. That's the Shulchan Aruch's heter, and says the Bir Halacha, Ze Einoi, the Mavui Yerushalmi beheaded the Ba'or Shaykh Kamten Korea. From the Ibizawai from Yerushalmi, they see it's Shaykh Korea on leather, even though it's one piece. So therefore, the Mishnah Berurah doesn't like the Shulchan Aruch's chiluk, what's called Korea. Karot Tzadloi Mekem, which was Adam, Medachah Dem, and Perek Yerushalmi Azeh. So Bir Halacha knocks off the Shulchan Aruch. The Lulay, the Mistafina, says the Bir Halacha, have a minute of a Chadash B'zeh. I would have said a new reason why it's not Shaykh Korea here b'chal. What's his reason? Shaykh Shem Korea Manas Lasakin Ki'im Kishikorea Ezet Dava Be'emtza V'utzorach B'tikun Shnei. Korea is only an isser when you have something and you're cutting it up into pieces and you need all the pieces. But if I'm cutting something and I only need the piece that I cut off and the rest not, says the Mishnah Berurah, that's not called Korea. Okay, so the Mishkan, so you read it, nothing but darna, the fell in a thorn, covered by the taper, you rip it open and you sew it back together again. Shakriya Haisa the Tzarech to LS, Kol Hayariya. Chemaster Amar Shama Shabbos, the of the Kisisa, Gamka to LS, the Tzarech Kol HaBeged, they fixed the whole bag, the Shkareh, the Chamasa, the Mechai, the Rambam, for a different reason. So we look all the way at the bottom, skip a little bit. 2 lines from the bottom. L'chein b'inyanenu. You see it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2
lines from the bottom. L'chein b'inyanenu, middle of the line. L'chein b'inyanenu. Shukareya eze chatichas niyar. B'daf sholem. Today l'shtamish b'oi eze davar. Ma. U'b'daf shenikru mimenu haniyar. But the daf that you rip the paper from. Einoi misaknoi klal. Be'esher de mekalkaloi gamkein. Ein ze b'chlal kareya amanas l'sakin. It's not called kareya amanas l'sakin. The Torah Hadav Rakal Pi Atikum Shenasa B'Chatichas Aniyar Shechotchon. So says the Mishnah Berurah over here, the Bir Halacha, a Chiddush, that Korea is only when you have something, you rip it, you need the whole thing that you're ripping, it's misakah the whole thing. But if you have a piece of paper, and you're ripping off one piece, you need that piece only, and if I can't, maybe for the rest of the paper it's a mekalkal, it's not called Korea. Not even the Isra of Korea, it's mutal lechatchila, alt din Korea.
What about mekalkal?
No, it's not called a Mechalka. It's not Korea. It's not the Malacha of Korea. Mechalka is only when it's a Malacha of Korea and you're being Mechalka.
So cutting, I mean, we spoke about already with the tablecloth, but a toilet from a roll.
Correct. According to this, it could be that cutting from a roll, toilet paper from a roll, is mutal lechatchila.
Mr. Berurah said it's not.
Yeah.
He himself.
Yeah. Because he doesn't come out with this.
So how does that come out?
He doesn't come out with this. No. First of all, Mishnah only says, no.
Because in his Bir Halacha, he says that it would be, you need both pieces.
Right. No. In the Mishnah Berurah, he says, if you read it again, right?
Which Mishnah Berurah? How about the toilet?
The toilet paper.
Yeah.
Korea, but right after Ayin Hay of the Sharatzian. It says, Korea, Niyor, the Karoim, Korea, the Kaneach, that's Asmoy. He doesn't say you take off a piece. He says you rip it into pieces. His mashma, you're using both pieces.
That's his case.
Right? You have to redaik his lotion.
So maybe.
Right? Even, but the truth is, he himself doesn't come out halacha with his school.
But
his beard.
He does.
Huh? No, even the beard halacha, he has questions on it, and he comes out at the end. He's not so popular as maker with this. He says, Lula Mistafina, I would say there's chiluk, but it's not so simple that the beard halacha himself comes out with this heter. But from the Mishnah Berurah, you can't ask any questions because if you would die, the Mishnah Berurah says he ripped it into pieces.
And he wants all the pieces.
And you need all the pieces.
Whereas in the Bir Halacha, he's saying,
right. No, you took a piece of paper. Right.
I remember the roll, but not see where it was. In here, the Dirshi brings down from all the poskim today that they talk about a roll.
Right.
There's something on the shinui that we spoke out that you need that, but you wouldn't need the shinui.
Right.
The roll.
So that's but if you would like at the lesson of Mr. Brewery, says that since you're ripping off just this piece and the rest of it could be a mekalkal even, therefore it's mutter. When you're ripping off a piece of toilet paper from the roll, you're not being mekalkal the rest of the roll. That's what it's meant for. You can't use the roll of toilet paper the way it is. It's meant to be cut into pieces. So could be that would be worse. Could be that would be worse than the case of the Mishnah. When you have a piece of paper and you're just cutting off one piece to use it. The rest of the piece of paper you're going to use for using the tool now. So therefore, it could be it's only a masaket in that piece. But yes, you could be have a tziruf with this head of the Mishnah Berurah that's not called kareya. Only when you're cutting it into half, you need both pieces. If you don't need both pieces, it's not called kareya. So it could be even side of this to the head of ripping off toilet paper. So look at the verse. It says Lefiza, right? This is going to answer what it says in the Mishnah Berurah. In Kareya Haniyar, the Kamer Karoim, you lift the paper into a bunch of pieces. V'tzarech l'chol echad l'shtamish boy, hu chayiv, then you chayiv. Du Kareya amanas l'sakin. V'smach l'masher gasam le'bizurayim from Moed Koten. There's a whole arichus over here. But I think at the end, at the end, that's a pashat. So the Sorch Ian B'Cholzeh, and that's a pashat that is mekel. He's mekel on this. So the Maisa, you cannot use the Bir Halacha Svara, Halacha L'Maisa, to be mekel, to rip something, so ripping off a piece. You can't use it for a heter by itself.